and welcome to The Thinking Man. I'm not doing a pause, guys, so don't get me giddy. I can read your thoughts from here. So what I want to talk about today is a very, very, very old theory and video that I did on the Black Sheep Research and nothing. A lot of you might have seen it, but it goes under the radar like a lot of my content. But people are still intrigued about whether giant trees were giant mountains. Now, a long time ago, as I was saying, I found something that absolutely knocked me for six, as the saying goes, or blew my hair off. And it was the fact that there was a rare mineral, it's called Moissanite, and it was found at locations that you could label giant tree, giant mountains, or weird phenomenon happened at these locations like myth and folklore. And it just got me, how can it be possible that this rare mineral that they actually make now in a lab, because it's that rare, I found at each of these locations. And I went through different locations around this realm, and people would say, yep, that does look like a giant tree or in the mountains. And again, this moissanite was found there. And in this video, basically, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to show you the images and different things, even a spell etymology, because I found, ironically, I've just done the video on the truth, and I did a video a long time ago on the word altar, and obviously altar, A-L-E-L, and then T-A-R, tar. In the definition, the spell etymology of tar, of some people will say tar bitumen, some say tar tartaria, is the word tree and wood, and it's the same base etymology of deo or something like trio. Remember that I found in the truth, and I'll show it all in the video. And obviously people in olden times used trees, mountains as altars, hence why I did the video. So I'm going to include that too. I'm going to show you some stuff on what moissanite is, and the old theory of mine was moissanite what these giant super trees that touched the gods, the heavens, made out of moissanite as a semiconductor, a cathode, anode. Who knows, it's up to you. Or, and I can't remember, so I do apologise, because it was a long time ago, one of the people watching said, could it be like the tree sap was this crystal? Or was it the fruit on the trees? Or was it the trees themselves? Who knows? Or is it something else now that, we can look into, or what you can say? But tell me, guys, these locations are spiritually, like one of them's Mount Kailash, where, I think it's Shiva is from. And things like that. I'll get into this, but it just blows me away that at each of these locations, this moissanite was found. Nowhere else in the world. And every location had, what people would say now would call now a giant tree. So what is going on in these locations? What was this moissanite actually used for? Why it's so rare that they actually make it artificially, and it's in everything. So guys, buckle up, hopefully you enjoy, and I'll try and make it make sense. Bye guys.
Naturally occurring silicon carbide. That's what we call moissanite. And believe it or not, we didn't know it existed until 1893, when this man was studying this crater and discovered these crystals. This was a remarkable, extremely rare mineral. And Henry Moissan thought, what if I can recreate these crystals in a lab? He certainly tried, along with a lot of other scientists. But it would be a full century later before researchers here developed and patented a process for creating silicon carbide. And this wasn't just a long sought-out breakthrough for gemstones. It also made possible significant advancements in semiconductors, LED lighting, extremely hard drilling tools, and a lot of other stuff. So why is lab-grown moissanite such a big deal? Well, let's start with its brilliance. Moissanite's chemical structure allows it to slow down, bend, and redirect light better than any other gemstones. On the refractive index, it measures a whopping 2.691. And then there's its toughness and durability. On the Mohs scale, it ranks second only to diamond in hardness and scratch resistance, meaning not only is it a tough gemstone, but one that can stand up to daily wear. And then there's the fire. Fire or dispersion marks a gemstone's ability to split light as it passes through the stone, making a rainbow-like effect. And in this department, Moissanite outranks them all.
Right guys, so I missed a little bit out before. The actual how I actually found moissanite in these locations that were shown in the video is that I used a mining company's website. They said they found moissanite in these regions, so I looked into those regions and found what I found in this video. So obviously I want to start with Diablo Canyon, the Devil's Canyon. And obviously it's not just this is just a crater in the canyon. I call it a complex, but you know what I mean, the park. And you might be thinking, well, this is not a tree, but think about it. Could it be a tree that's been pulled out, leaving this pattern? It could be many other things. Again, I'm not saying it's fact. Or could it have been flushed down river or moved from a location? Because when you're looking at the Devil's crater and canyon, there is mountains and ranges around it. And as you can see on the screen here, there's a huge range behind it. Now, what got me was that moissanite was found in small bits in these locations. Now, they will say that they've came from out of space. So you can actually say, could it just fell from the firmament or could it be from these trees? I don't believe in meteorites like they say. The statistics that no one has ever died from a meteorite strike. Now, it will change from one person who was hit and so on and so on, but we know, don't we? Anyway, at this location and other locations of so-called meteorite sites, they found another rare mineral, and it's to the top and to the right. It's called Lonsdaleite. Now, it's only found in what these are called impact craters, and it's a small, like diamond shaped. And it just reminded me of the Libyan Egyptian desert glass, which is on the bottom left. Very similar too. Now, I just thought that was fascinating that similar type of glass and minerals are found at these weird locations. I mean, the Devil Canyon is known to be cursed, and a lot of weird phenomenon has happened around this location. Again, these locations seem to have an energy about them. Now, people will automatically be talking about, oh, sky blue gas. You've mentioned the firmament, the sky blue glass. Now, I didn't originally put this in my old video, but I will this now. The blue glass that was found in Sierra Leone in Africa, the blue sky stone. And again, I'm not going to put ideas or thoughts into your head. I'm just going to say to you, guys, here's a few images of the location. Tell me what you see. And then you say, yes, again, this is linked to the firmaments, but there's also ranges and mountains that look like giant trees. I'll leave that with you guys. Right, the next one is Dome A, otherwise known as Dome Argus, which is in Antarctica. And this is a very, very famous picture that a lot of people have seen and used as proof of the firmament behind it. It's easily found. And what's interesting about this place too is this is supposedly the coldest place in this realm, on the plateau, the mountain range of Dome A Argus. So there's not many pictures for it. Some will be labelled Argos, but in others it'd be labelled something else. So it's very tricky to find actual images for this. Now, the rumour or the folklore behind it is Argus was named after Argos building the ship, the Argo, for the Jason and the Argonauts. If you ever watched that, they talk about how they use a special wood for the talking Hera. Is that any reference to the tree? But also there's another name it could be, and this is just my personal opinion, nothing else, that Argus was Argus. This is Argus, and it's Argus Panoptites, pardon but the pronunciation, means the one who is all seeing. Argus was a giant, and he had 100 eyes, and he was a servant of Hera. Basically, he could see everything, even when asleep, obviously, because he's got 100 eyes. Some of you guys may know the name Argus Panoptites because he appeared in, I believe, American Gods series that's on Prime TV, and you can see an image on the screen. So again, this location is another location that Moissanite was found, and there is significant mountain range and folklore and mythlore around this area. As you can see, these are just a few to name. Crazy, isn't it? And the next is Mount Kailash. Now, this one's really interesting. It's considered to be a sacred mountain in 4 different religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Bon, which is the Tibetan religion. And as you can see, does look like a tree, obviously chopped down. So I'll just do a little bit on this, not too much. Believed to be the abode of Lord Shiva and the goddess Parvati. Now, it's banned by governments to climb this, but if you want to know a bit of knowledge, in the modern era, no one has ever climbed Mount Kailash. No one. Now, in the 11th century, not saying anything, guys, a person called Malarapa, who was a sage, is the only one to believe to have climbed it, and he found many secrets up on the mountain, made him really powerful, and he's the only one to have so-called climbed it. Now, some few interesting things, whether you believe this or not, it's just what I found when I'm just looking up on it. It said that time moves faster when you're near the mountain. So much so that you can feel and see hair and nails grow a lot faster. So that was intriguing, isn't it? I suppose I might go over and visit, see if it can grow on my head. I'll come back with long flowing hair. Now, also, in ancient times, it was said to be the centre of the world, the gods, basically where the gods are. And even in modern era, I don't like saying it, but science say this is the Axis Mundi, the centre of the world, according to what I've just read. So it's an intriguing place, isn't it? And again, Moissanite was found at this location. This one really intrigues me, guys, and I enjoyed talking about this one a long time ago. It is Manpupuner, and it's in Russia. It's in the Ural Mountains. Now, the rock formation consists of 7 stones. You can see a few of them in the images below, but you will see 7. They range between 30 and 42 meters in height, and that is basically 98 feet to the tallest one is 137 feet. The 11 again, just a coincidence. It is this time. It's got to be surely, guys. And it's a beautiful area, isn't it? Now, this place is said to be very sacred to the local Mansi people. Now, there's a few locals around this area, the Mansi and the Tomai, I believe. Now, in the Mansi language, Manpupuner means small mountain of idols. I wonder why. And the story goes, 7 giants, Samoyed giants, came to destroy the Mansi people, but the gods petrified the giants. Some say it was 7 giant brothers. You know, I've just picked a few of the myths on it. So what you're going to see now is a few of the images of Manpupuner. It is beautiful. I think a lot of us would like to go and visit this place once in our lifetime. But as you know, Russia is a huge place. I specifically love this picture with the mist. That gets your tension going, doesn't it? It's like very supernatural feeling. Now, in this area, just so you guys can know roughly what's going on in this area, is a very famous incident happened in the 50s. Gyatov Pass. Jitlov, that's it. Pass incident where like 9 experienced hikers mysteriously died. A lot of people have talked about it, done many videos on it. I just found it fascinating. It happens in this area again where weird things happen, the energy or the ley lines or the ley lines. And as you can see, one of the local mountains to this area that is close by, look at it. Come on, guys, what does it look like? And again, we have to say, just because something looks like it does not mean it is, but it just gets the imagination flowing, doesn't it, guys? And this is Manpupuner. Right, guys, I'm tying 2 together in this one, and then that'll be it. I could carry on forever, but the purpose of the Thinking Man was to get short videos, and I'm getting too excited, and so I'm cutting this bit to an end because there is a few others like Uluru and Devil's Mountain, but you know, I'm cutting to 2 now because I've got other stuff to put in it. So as you can see here, together I'm putting Mount Tabor or Tabor, and Mount Carmel, and basically tying it with the Kishon River, and obviously these in Israel. Now they found the Moissanite in the Kishon River, but they believe it could have been washed down from Mount Tabor or Mount Carmel, so that's why I've put them together. And it's intriguing because when you look at it, again, this is Mount Tabor. You can see, yes, it does look like a burial mound or a mountain that was a tree stump. Now, what's interesting about Mount Tabor, like the other one, is in old pictures, it does morph a little bit, as you can see on the screen now. Then in the Battle of Tabor, you can see again it's slightly changed again, which is intriguing. It does more look like a tree stump in these images. But the significance of Mount Tabor that most of you will already know, and from the image that you can see on the screen now, is that's the location Jesus transfigured and became or becomes radiant in glory upon a mountain. So that's the significance of the area, and obviously the mountain is Mount Tabor, which is cool. Again, as I'm showing you, all these locations have something significant happened on them. That's what's intriguing me about it. Next one is Mount Carmel, again in Israel, and you can see some images on the screen now, various images of it. And what's intriguing about this area, again, this is from an older video, that Mount Tabor was a new one I found, just quickly, get myself back up to speed with this theory, is that Mount Carmel basically is a location where Elijah confronted the false prophets of Baal. So again, significant history happened at these locations. Now what I'm going to show you now is an old spell etymology. So it's an old video, so apologise for the quality of it, but I was learning in these days. And it is on the etymology of altar. Altar, yes, altar that you go to church or worship, and how I'm tying that in with trees. And it should blow your minds, because it blew mine. Again, it's just my opinion, but in this altar is, as I said at the beginning, a definition of tar, which ties in with what I did a few weeks ago on the truth. Remember the video I did about the truth? We talked about steadfast. They share the same root word, funny enough, like a tree. So that's coming up now, and then I'll tie everything in together. So yes, now coming up is a spell etymology video on altar, because obviously it's talking about religious. These locations, some of them are religious, and they're tied to trees. When you picture an altar, these are the images you're thinking about. Or, if you're like me, you picture ancient altars, and here's some now. Let's look what the etymology says. Old English altar, from the Latin altar, plural altria, high altar, altar for sacrifice to the great gods, perhaps originally meaning burnt offerings. Compared Latin adolere, to worship, to offer sacrifice, to honour by burning sacrifices to, but influenced by the Latin altus, high. In Middle English, often outer. From Old French alter, Latin spelling restored 15th century. As a symbol of marriage by 1820, altar piece is from 1640s, altar boy from 1772. So let's break the word down. Altar, AL equals EL, it means God. So could the tar in altar be that obvious? Could the tar refer to tar, especially from the Holy Land? And this is why I'm including this little bit, because could it just be God tar? And the reason is because remember about the valley of Sidon was full of bitumen pits, which is tar, and as the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some fell into them, and the rest fled to the hill country. So could this actually be the altar in respect to about the kings falling into the tar pits, sinkholes beside the Dead Sea, because they're known as tar pits or slime pits? Or could it in fact be in ancient times the bitumen was actually used to embalm mummies? It later turned out to be called mummia, and as you can see just from these brief pictures, it's the black used to embalm. Could it be that? Right guys, this next bit's a what if. It is a what if etymology of tar. A viscous liquid, Old English, and it goes through the names: tar, bitumen, resin, gum, literally the pitch certain kinds of trees. Emphasise on the trees, because this is what I'm going to go from here. And then it just gives the Proto-Germanic, all the different derivations of those words. Verdant, root, deru, be firm, solid, steadfast, with specialised senses wood and tree, and derivatives referring to objects made of wood. So you can see the connection with wood and the trees, and this is where I'm just going to take this and I'm going to run with it, because what is next wowed me, and hopefully it's going to wow you. Obviously it ain't a fact, but guys, it is a huge what if, and it just makes so much sense to me. So hopefully you can see where I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to share my journey with you. So you just seen the tar in altar being a tree or wood. Now people have theorised that some ancient mountains were in fact tree stumps. Now have a look at this mountain. Does it not look like a tree stump cut down? Have a guess at its name. There you go, another pit. It's called El Altar. Coincidence or not, I just thought it was uncanny, I had to put it in. And then we have Altar Mountain in Antarctica. So, what is the spell etymology of altar? Could it be tree of God, God's tree? Who knows? I just found it fascinating. Maybe it's how we connected to God, and I've made videos on that, but check this out. Another word translated as altar in Ezekiel 43 literally means mountain of God. Before Moses, altars were sometimes built on mountains. That blew me away. And he proceeded from there to the mountain on the east of Bethel and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there be built an altar to Jehovah, and called upon the name of Jehovah. So mountains were used as altars. And now I'm doing a video showing a what if etymology of altar is a tree, wood. Tell me guys, this is not blowing you away like it is me. Yes, it is a what if, but it's an interesting what if. So you go into a church and you can see just 3 examples here, and I'll highlight it. They are a table altar, and there's a little arrow, and what's behind it? Does that not resemble a giant tree, a giant mountain? They are what are called a high altar. High altar? That's intriguing. Now, trees are mentioned in the Bible more than any living other thing other than God and people. There's a tree on the first page of Genesis, the first Psalm, the first page of the New Testament, the last page of Revelation. Whether it's the fall, the flood, or the overthrow of the Pharaoh, every major event in the Bible has a tree marking the spot, an altar. Jesus said he is the true vine and that his Father is the dresser of the garden. The Bible refers to itself as the tree of life. We are told to be like trees, planted by streams of water that yield their fruit in the season. You can see guys how I'm showing you evidence after evidence, not saying it's fact or true, but showing you that altars and mountains or trees are one in the same. I just find it intriguing, and hopefully you do too guys. Obviously this is the Tower of Babel or Babel. Now what's interesting, it looks like a tree, it looks like a mountain. The actual etymology for Tower of Babel, the Babel, it actually means gate to the gods or gate of the gods. So it's basically, sounds to me like an altar. Now, as you can see, speller etymology for altar means tree or wood of the gods, or the connection to the gods, how we used to praise the gods, I believe, with a hardline connection to the gods. So I've just been watching that back as I'm editing it, and I'm like, whoa, because obviously I made it that long ago. I didn't do my research into the L11. Obviously this realm is L11, and it means a doorway. They use it, in the media as a doorway, a transformation, a transitioning, because of the 11. That's what a doorway is. It's Janus's number. Well, one of these numbers. And as I was reading it, as I was pointing out, and it was talking about another word translated as altar in Ezekiel 43 means mountain of God. Before Moses, altars were sometimes built on mountains. See Genesis 1:2-8. And I'm just laughing to myself. Wow. So it's talking about how altars connecting to the hardline to the gods, whatever you want to believe, that these trees, these mountains, whatever they were, it's first mentioned in Genesis 1:2-8, which adds to, yes, that number L11. And it just made me laugh, so I had to just come back and quickly mention this before I show you a few other things. And hopefully you're enjoying it so far, because it's a mixture of different theories that I've had and some new ones as I'm making it. And I'm going to try and make it as intriguing as possible for you guys. Right, everyone, so I want to throw you a curveball because as making this video, I've just had a brain fart, a thought, whatever we want to call them, and I had to include it just to give you something else to think about, because I know some of you, most of you out there, would be thinking on the same lines, or think of something I've not mentioned, because you can't mention everything in a video. I want to keep it as short as I can for this channel. But anyway, as I've done a lot of videos lately on the chamber and celestial, basically talking how we're living in an enclosed chamber, and in that video I talked about a lot of things. But what I want to get on in this video, so I'm backwards and forwards here, guys, so hopefully you can stay with me. I'm talking about Moissanite, a rare mineral that is found. In my old theory, I was asking, could these be the giant trees of fable and folklore, of the Bible, of myths? Or could they be whatever, they could be a part of the tree. Now, I showed you the video so far, and it's gone in so many different directions, and showed you the locations where this rare mineral has been found, and how some of them, or most of them, do look like parts of trees. Now, it came to me, I've made a lot of videos, like I just said, about how us being in a chamber, and what grows in chambers, and that's what got to me. So when we're looking at this image, generic image, you can see floodgates from above, the waters above the firmament. I've done so many videos on the waters, the firmament, you name it, I've done it. It's on my channel. And then we talk about Sheol, which could be a term for hell or Hades. I've talked about hell and heaven in the videos, and I've included that in it, so go and check them out. But also, as you can see from underneath, the columns of the earth. Well, how would these columns be made? And that got me thinking, yes, we're in a chamber, but what are these mountains or these trees? What could they be? And I'm asking, and this is not a fact, guys, so people don't be getting snowflake. Could it be stalactites and stalagmites? Now, a lot of people have had theories on what these actually are, but I'm just asking, were these giant trees? Because we could be in an enclosed system and in a chamber, like the etymology for celestial says we are, and the waters above, all the minerals, could it be them seeping down, creating giant stalagmites and stalactites? It's just a thought, and I'm going to go through just a couple of images that I found, and you guys can go and check and look for more, and you'll see more. They do look like trees or tree bark and so on. So could these mountains, these giant trees, be these stalagmites or stalactites? It's worthy of just being put together with other theories that people have come to. I mean, as you can see, this is how stalactites, they say, and stalagmites are created. Offers in the minerals and the water, the limestone, whatever it's going through, drips from the above, and they are stalactites, and that water hits the floor and pools and then grows over time to become a stalagmite. Look at the end when both stalactite and stalagmites conjoin, they are known as columns. What was it under the shoal again? The columns of the earth. Could we be, again, like I've said in various videos, we be living in a chamber, and these mountains that look like trees, and I've connected to Moissanite. Could these be giant stalactites or stalagmites? It's just a thought. Now, here's another video that I included in an old video, and yes, I've even written on it because people don't give me time and listen to the theories, or actually no, they'll just watch me for the first time and think this guy's not researched. I know the Kola bore drill only drilled 7.8 something miles down, so we don't know what's in the core. We don't even know, you know, when people talk core of the earth, they automatically think you're talking about a core and a sphere. A core is just the center. Now, I've got an old video now that science say is at the center or the core of the earth, and it ties in what I'm saying. So here guys, have a listen to this.
So this is the first image. We have rings, and it became spotty during heating, and the size of the crystal of iron nickel alloy increased by 1,000 times at core pressure and temperature in our experiments just in 10 minutes.
Over millions of years under the extreme heat and pressure found at the core, these crystals could have grown to huge lengths.
We may have very big crystals at the center of the Earth, maybe up to 10 kilometers. It's like a forest. It looks very interesting.
Kay believes this forest of crystals makes up the solid inner core of our Earth.
So you just saw that short video with that guy. I mean, it's hard to understand that guy, just like it is me. People with accents, we find it hard. But you get the gist of what they were trying to tell you in that video. Basically, they did a scientific test, whether you believe it or not. It's just information. I don't get triggered like some. And they said at the core of the earth is a crystal forest, with the crystal being like 6.2 miles high, 10 kilometers high, 33,000 feet tall. And you're like, wow, how tall is that? And it's like, well, nothing like that would occur in this realm. And then you get to think, well, what is 32,000 feet? The highest mountain on Earth, not under the ocean, because the tallest mountain is actually underwater. But the one on, you know, pointing up from the Earth is Mount Everest, and that's roughly about 29,000 feet tall. And you're like, so it is possible, and that's what I just wanted to get at this video. I'm not saying it's this or that. I'm just showing you what people believe, whether they have an agenda or not, with like the BBC then, because no one knows what's at the core of this realm. The core is the center. Some people believe we're on a flat plane. Still has to be a core, so it has to be a bottom somewhere. We can't get past 7.8 miles. What is below? Are we in a chamber? Like I've talked about, if we're in a chamber, is there other chambers underneath? Is there different realms? I just don't know, because I know nothing. So when I'm theorizing, I'm just theorizing and using information that I have to my, you know, that I can get a hold of. And in the old video, I talk about if these crystal trees made out of moissanite or some part of the tree were mountains, and I show you both and how they could be them. This new theory, because obviously I've learned a lot since then. Could they be stalactites, and made of this material, this moissanite, or a key part of this? And I just use an example of, oh, these people think there's a huge crystal forest at the core. I mean, you saw the caves in Mexico of crystals, so they're huge, and they're pale insignificant. So if we're talking about giant super trees or mountains, you're talking about, well, here we go, here's proof. Everest is the same height, so it is or could be possible, right guys? So I want to finish with this and run this past you and see what you guys think. These have been in various videos that I've done, and I didn't want to just put more in. I just briefly talk about it. That's easy. Because as you know, this theory is moulded and gone in different directions just because as I'm working I brainstorm and I like to put things in. So we're getting to the end, and as we all know, a lot of people have read the book of Enoch and done various videos on them. I think Jay Dreamers did one about giant trees and things like that. I think he did at the same time as I did my original one many years ago. Anyway, so a lot of people talk about there was 200 angels, and they basically came down and they cut the trees down because they didn't want humans to have anywhere to go from the flood. That is what everyone talks about. And what's interesting and correlates to what I was talking about, my theory, they say these trees were made of silica. What is moissanite again? Oh yes, silica in carbine, or silica carbine. It's like, it may be possible that I was talking something worth listening to many years ago, and it just blew me away. So obviously we're talking about Enoch. Angels flew down, they cut these trees or mountains or altars, these huge crystalline silica trees down, because they didn't want to give humans refuge to get away from the flood, because obviously if they're so high they would have survived. And what weird thing is, something has to be amiss, because when you get poems and verses from the Bible talking about giant trees, and I mean this one is from Daniel, and it talks about the tree grew and was strong, and the height of it reached to the sky, and the sight of it to the end of all, you could basically see the sight of it to the end of all the earth, Daniel 4:11. And when you look at most trees, you're only talking in some valleys that the trees may hit the cloud, a low cloud zone. But 9 times out of 10, when you see these beautiful pictures and imagery through your devices, it's mainly a mountain, isn't it? And the mountain peaks, peaks above the trees. And that's what I was thinking. This correlation between mountains and trees seems one in the same. I mean, you even have Ezekiel talks about a funeral of the great tree. So they had a funeral for a tree, and that is in the Bible. And we talked about before, the tree is basically talks about quite a lot, near enough like people. So, and we do have in my old videos, I do talk about how our nervous system looks like a tree. So I've done all this. I didn't want to put this in because I didn't want to go slightly away from what I was talking about. But what's interesting to me is what you're seeing on the screen now. I've never heard of this before, so I pardon the pronunciation. It's the caves of Bezeklik, and it's something called Uyghur Manchuanian, and it's in China. Now it's really interesting, and what I found in here is in one of the caves, cave 38, that's an 11, but that's just a coincidence, you get this image, and it just blew me away. What if I'm talking about us being in a chamber, and the celestial being obviously the etymology of that I've done in previous videos. And just look, you have what could be known as the elves or the gods sitting around, you have the tree of life or the huge tree, and in the middle, to me, I'm not saying it's because obviously it's an old image, but I think it's between the 9th and the 11th century. I'll put a zoom on so it might magnify it for you, but that looks to me like an enclosed system with the tree coming into the top, a bit like the Norse mythology tree of life, how that is, and they correlate to each other, don't they? So if I remember, I'll put that in an image on here at the side so you can just see the difference, but I'll zoom in, I'll try and find the zoom, and you can see what looks like a world enclosed again and the gods sitting around. That is what I'm seeing, and you could even look at the branches and see the fruit. Are they cities or realms in the trees? A bit like the Norse mythology of all the 9 kingdoms, like I've talked about in Hell and Heaven before in that video. And this is just fascinating, this image. And again, this is from the Bezeklik cave, and it's showing you what I've been talking about for a long time, and I've honed in on the last couple of videos, that there's the gods, the elves, surrounding an enclosed system, which is like a goldy colour in the middle, with the tree coming from them. Now, did the tree, did the stagnites or staglanites, whatever you want to call them, connect? And that is why they cut it down, because they wanted to cut the connection to the gods. Or who knows? But I don't want to go too much in this, because I'm going to talk about this in my thoughts now. I just thought this was wow, and I had to show you guys what I found. Hello and welcome to The Thinking Man. Yay! The channel where I try and not think too much, but hey, we can't not stop thinking, can we, and putting theories together and just giving each other food for thought. That's what I created this backup channel, and I appreciate everyone that came over from What the Flock TV. Again, I will be back there soon, probably the next video I might do on there. I just wanted to clear one of the strikes off, which I have, and because of this video so long, I started it thinking, you know, I started it for that channel, The Thinking Man, and I could really have put it on, but hey, I'm not going back re-editing it now, and today I'm near the end of the video, and it's to the thoughts. Normally I wouldn't do it for a short video, but this video is going a little bit longer because, again, like I was saying in the video, I brainstorm and I get carried away. So like always, I want to thank everyone for the best wishes for the new year. Hopefully everyone is having good memories and thoughts and things happening. I'm just having life at the minute, which we all know how that goes, but keep on smiling, keep on going. That's the best you can do. So I want to thank everyone for who's liked, shared and subscribed. Again, anyone who has bought me a coffee, the link will be not in the description, it'll be in the comments, because I can't link yet until I'm 2 months old. So anyone that's done that, again, I'm humbled, really do get emotional, and thank you for helping me and the channel. But you can also do that just by liking, sharing and tell people about either What the Flock TV or The Thinking Man. So on with the video. So the end. Bye guys. What? Oh, I'm just gonna cough. So I don't know where to start. I started doing one thing and then I've just gone like I do, so I do apologise if you're expecting one thing and ending on another. But many years ago, because as you know, I've done a lot of research on crystals and how humans are made of crystal. That is a crystal matrix video. It's on the video channel on What the Fuck TV if you want to check it out. Basically it shows you about all crystals. So I've been researching that type of thing in regards to crystals for a long time. And when I was doing that research, I came across a rare mineral. And in the lab, they call it silicate in carbine or silicate carbine. Basically SiC, SiC for short. They make bulletproof vests, things that's really tough, you know, for grinding and different things, and for safety, because it's really tough. As you can see, it's made into bulletproof vests. And there's so many more uses for it. They make it artificially now in labs, but the rare stuff, which is not much of it, is found at these locations, and there's many more. But what intrigued me is because many moons ago when I was doing it, people were really looking into talking about trees were mountains. I know people have changed the theories and different things because people progress, don't they? But I saw a lot of people talking about this the other day, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? People forgot, because I've made so many videos and content that people forget what I've done. So I thought, you know, I'm going to remake this and see if anything else I can find. So that's what I did. So in the original video, I found a mining site. I can't even remember if I put it in the original. I might have done. And the mining site said, yes, we found Moissanite at this old location. I thought, okay, write that down. we found Moissanite at that location. I wrote that down and I got to 6 to 10 names, and I thought, I'm going to have a look now. So put the location in, bang. I'm like, looks like a tree. It's a mountain. Again, things that do look like things don't necessarily mean that. If anyone wants to get down that route, I like doing videos and theorising. If you don't like that, the door, you know where the door is. I wish you well on your travels. But I like talking about anything, and I do not get triggered about any topic, because we all hear and see things differently. Hence why I've done videos on the chamber and the celestial etymology, showing that we're in an enclosed system but underground. A lot of people believe it's flat, concave, and so what? And it could be all those things. I've done many videos on that. So when we get to this stage where we're looking at the trees and finding the mountains, and I'm like, wow, every one of those locations, even Diablo Canyon had the mountains nearby where it could wash down to. Or if you've ever pulled a sod or a small tree out, it creates that type of pattern. So that's what I put that down to, and I thought, I'm honest. I never say the facts, because I'm honest. I know nothing. I'm just theorising and putting ideas together, to pass time. Helps with your mental health, getting and thinking, and connecting with like-minded individuals. And I put this this idea out many years ago, and people again were talking about these trees were made of silica, and I'm like, silica, Moissanite is silica. That could be what the tree, the fruit, the bark, the sap, anything on these trees. Because when you talk about the throne of God and different things, and how the firmament, I said it's liquid crystal, it's made of many crystals. The Bible talks about different types of crystal, mineral, moissanite, crystal, Christ, God. And we're talking about how influential crystals are. Like I said, our skeleton is 65% crystal, that magical. We're living in the realm of El Evan. And we're talking about this then, so I thought, wow, each one of those locations has some significance to the local people, or reverence religiously wise, and they do look like tree sites being mountains. Put that theory out, and a lot of people enjoyed it when it's out. But again, how many of you have remembered it? No, not I've just barely, because obviously I made it, and it's hard. People forget what you theorise, and a lot of these channels, and people have emailed me or messaged me on social media and say, Paul, is that one of yours? I said, the video's not, but that research is. And a lot of people take it. So when you see these big channels and they're putting all these ideas out, they're all for my old videos. And people say, did you not get angry? I said, no. I said, it'd be nice to get a heads up, or, you know what, I got this from this channel. But people don't like it. I'm like the hidden, when you have, when you have something you really like, but people say it's not good, like, ooh, it's hit, I like that, but I don't want people to know about it. That's what it seems to be with our channel. Get a lot of info from here, some of the big subscribers, and they use your ideas. I don't say, if I use ideas from people, I try and say I got it from there, which you've seen, and I've credited the music I've taught and I've put in, and I've done this from that. And people always ask me, well, can I tell you my theory? And that's why I don't like to hear other people's theories, because people say you're stolen from them, even though we do think alike. So that's the hard thing. It's not me being arrogant or ego. We've all got one. I keep saying it. It's just that I'm here for the quiet life. I want to just carry on doing what I do. I'm putting it out. I'm not here for plaudits or nothing. But like anything, if you made shoes, you made clothes, if you did something, you do like people say, oh, I like that, I like that, I like that, I like that. This is it. It helps you. It feeds you. It keeps you going. So that is what this old theory was. I want to get this out and see what people think. And as you see in the video, it progressed. It's moulded and it's gone. It's what the flocked. It's gone. So we're looking at a rare crystal that is so rare they make it in labs now, and it's on the top of the scale for when it's bright. And obviously we think of films like Avatar when they connect the tails to the trees. I put that in the old video, and it brights and glows, and you're like, could these trees be that big on mountains? Because why would you have a funeral for a big tree? Why would you send angels down to cut the trees to stop humans from a flood? Now, surely if that big from this plasma flood or whatever type of flood it was, people would have to seriously climb high, Jack and the Beanstalk, things like this. So they would have to have been high. Oxygen levels were different back then. That's what people theorising about. So if there were huge trees, I've talked about those X amount of super duper trees, you know, really, really huge, and then ones that we'd class now with like giants, like skyscrapers and different things. And then we talk about mushrooms and different things, and how those ecosystems, the largest one in, is it, I can't remember where it was, it begins with a D, didn't it, or was it is it Ohio or something like that, State Park, it's in there, I think. So in one of them anyway, and that covers thousands of miles. So you're thinking about the link between trees and mushrooms living together in you know, in an ecosystem, and we being in an enclosed system. And then you get to the stuff that I found near the end, which blew me away. So we have a rare crystal. How coincidence that it's so rare they make it in a lab, but it's found at every one of those locations that are shown. And it was also found at the iconic Devil's Mountain, which some people say is a bone, a foot, an ankle. Some people say it's a tree, and so on and so on. But this was found there. And then this was found at all the other locations I mentioned in the video, which look like trees. In the Oman Mountains, they have lava that's obviously cooled and looks like tree bark. So you get into that thing, because yes, huge giant trees were cut down, and what's left is mountains. People believe in a lot of things now, what these mountains are, and again, anyone is entitled to any theory they want, because you see what influences you in life influences you and your research. When I look at these things, originally I saw trees, and then other people have researched it more in depth, said no, it's this and this, and we talk about how some of these mountains could be titans. Now, titans don't necessarily have to be giant boned people. They could also have been trees, but some of them do look like mountains. We saw the images, but a lot of fake comes out there. Some people believe mountains were buildings and melted. Now, I don't mock anyone's belief, because I have no rights. Everyone has an opinion, like an arsehole, and I tilt my cap to anyone who goes out there and puts their head out the padded pit and shows your face and talks about whatever they want. It's hard to do it, because there's numbnuts out there. So, you know, for anyone who believes in whatever they want, it's hard work. It's rewarding, but also comes with a cost. You get a lot of idiots. So we have that 200 angels talk of cutting the trees down. The trees were made of silica. Moissanite is made of silica. Moissanite is found at all these locations that are called the Pillar of God, or the Pillars Mount, or the Giants, and it's like religious overtones as well. Mount Carmel, Mount Tabor, and you're like, wow, there's only so many locations or times people say, Paul, there's no such thing as a coincidence. And it's like, well, moissanite is found at all these locations. And again, this was years old. I did that research from that, so it could have been changed. There could be more locations. Mount Tabor was a quick one I found today. Not in the video today. It's took me about a month to do this, with things going on over the Christmas period. So that is what excited me. Wow, why is no one talking about? They're talking about these trees and what they do, the crystal, or this that huge. And it's like, well, what about this? What I talk about moissanite, and it's like deaf ears. People don't want to know. because I'm giving another opinion. It's like anything. People don't want to hear you give another opinion because they think you're calling their opinion or their theory. And that's why I do what I do. It's not to cause harm or cause people piss me off, but I don't like being told it's that and you got to settle for that. Why do we? Why can't I look at it? Because when I look at that, that does look like that. And when I add this and this and this, I form another opinion, and that's what I love doing. And I ain't going to stop. So we have all that. Moissanite found those locations. Intriguing, isn't it? Again, people have theorised and left comments. So for those people that was many, many years ago, I can't remember your name, who was talking about, could it be like amber tree sap? Could it be the fruit from the trees? Could it be the bark, the tree itself? Why is there not more of it if it was broken down? Have the elites taken this moissanite away because of its properties? Because think about it. When I'm putting in the video that they talk about trees and mountains being altar and one in the same. Think about that. You have a giant flood coming and you're looking around. Why don't you just climb mountains? Can't chop a bloody mountain down. Can they? What's people put in the comment here? You know what I mean? But consider, they talk about the chopping the giant trees down. The angels came down and cut the giant trees down. And you're showing it in the Bible, they correlate trees to mountains as being altars. So if trees and giant mountains were used as altars to worship what? The gods. And where would you go if there was a flood? You would go to the altar, sacrificing, oh, save us, the God. What did they do? They're down, revealing mountains and stumps what was left. That was fascinating, finding that about the altar and mountains of worship, because it all correlates into it. That just absolutely blew me away. And they talk about like moissanite is found like at the mantle and different things. Well, why is it not more? It's like they're hiding its properties. Now it's funny that mant means many. The mantle, mount, many gods. We talk about how the earth core is tied to the dirt, to the devil and the elves, but elves also go from outside, so it's weird, isn't it? They fell, these gods fell to the earth. The earth is mant, which means many elves, but it also means, and possibly could come from the word manta ray, which means, comes from the Latin mantum, means cloak or veil. So you have the cloak or the veil. And manta rays can also be called the devilfish as well, or the devil's cloak, I believe. And that fascinated me. So we're talking about moissanite. It's coming from these locations. Could this moissanite be from angels? I don't know. Is it acorn? Is it a seed off the trees? Is it come from the firmament? Because people talk about the sky blue glass. I'm like, okay, where's it found? One of the locations is Sierra Leone. Have a look at there. What's there? Tree stumps or mountains that look like tree stumps. You put them two together. I've talked about the firmament being liquid crystal, which means it can be a gas or a solid, or a gas solid or a liquid that can firm up. You know, it has an electrical current in it, and then it changes its, you know, when it gets attacked, it can become solid, like a cloak or a shield. I've done many videos on that. You've seen that. So I've been talking about it before sky blue glass was a thing. Do you know what I mean? And it can be many people home, oh, it's just the firmament, it's just this blue. It's not. It's many different types of crystals, like it says in the Bible and studies. That's why you get different types of minerals found. So seeing that image near the end from the Basilic, from the Uga Manchanian, which was some like complex in China, I went, wow. it looked like an enclosed system with the tree, with little cities and mountains, or whatever, or fruit, because it was weird, like, wasn't it? And then the 3, which, what is that thing? See, this is how professional I am. I'm trying to think of something, that symbol. The Arwen. There we go. Arwen. And I'll show you simple now. If you go back and look at the image that I was putting on the screen from the Bezekel caves, the 3 roots. It's funny how look a bit like the Arwen, the symbol coming down. And I didn't put that in the video because I thought, guys, you'd be falling asleep as it is. So we have them, those caves, and in the 38th cave, coincidentally the 38th, not the 39th, not the 40th, not the 2nd, not the 3rd, the 38th. And it talks about, and I've written it down, if you find the image, it basically talks about how, and this is what it says under the image, the realm of light awaits the righteous, or the worship of the tree of life in the realm of light. And that's what's in that cave, that's what that image is. And I'm assuming, yes, you could talk about there could be giants around them, or the Elohim, which, you know, like the Greek gods in the pantheons in the films always watch over us, the Watchers. They could be the Watchers. The Watchers came down with angels to chop these trees down. But it was an enclosed system, and then we had all these other different systems. And when I'm talking about us being in a chamber from the etymology of celestial, all of this seems to make more sense, doesn't it? And when you watching this video, I don't know what that was then. When you watch this video and then I just randomly say, could mountains be columns? Because people talk about the columns of the earth, the 4 pillars of the earth, the corners of the earth. Could these corners of the earth, people talk about being a footstool. Well, there's a footstool. You have the padded area on the top, which looks like this tree, or, you know, the cities. And then you have the 4 columns. But could them columns be trees or mountains? And when you have stalagmites and stalagmites growing and connecting to each other, they form columns. Is this what was the altars? Was this what the mountains? Was this what the trees were? If this all a huge if, and I'm thinking, if we are in an enclosed system, in an ecosystem, in a cave, underground, or in many grounds, would stalagmites and stalagmites not be created the same as they do in caves, but to a bigger, huger level because of a plasma tear in the firmament, like the Great Rift, the Milky Way? I don't know. Were they, you know? So I'm just thinking, were these stalactites and stalagmites? I'm just putting that thing out there. If people can say no, I'm fine. I won't be offended. I won't, because it's just, I was just thinking out loud, and when I'm doing these videos, it's like I'm talking to myself and I'm talking to you guys, and I'm like, sometimes I imagine some guys, you know, some of you flockers who have been there with me for so long talking to me. I don't get out much, and you know what I mean, and I just love talking to you guys. I'm nothing special, I'm just like you. I've just got a platform and I've used it, and I've got, you know, a good flock of people who are brilliant, and it humbles me and it gets me emotional because I feel blessed to have a lot of people. I started a new channel as a backup, and we've only got a couple of thousand, but a couple of thousand people have watched the video. So I thank, you know, it means a lot to me, and I just hope, you know, you guys truly know how much I appreciate the support that you've shown. Whether you like the idea, the theories or not, you still, you know, give it a thumbs up, and you still share the stuff out. You still tell people, check what the Flock TV out, check the Thinking Man out. He's thinking of things that we're thinking about, and other things that are different from the norm. And this is when you put all these things together, pardon me, it makes something, aha. I made this, and an aha moment myself, thinking, yeah, people talk about giant trees, giant mountains. They're talking about this and this and this. But if they're talking about giant trees, there's been silica trees, moissanite is silica. Why don't they mention moissanite? Why not? Then you go to the different things and like, if we're in an enclosed system, could these mountains be stalactites and stalagmites coming down? And they were chopped, like Jack and the Beanstalk. Is that where Jack and the Beanstalk come from? So all these ideas were just put out here for you guys to think. Food for thought. Is Paul another one of his wacky theories? Or does he have a point? Or can we just put it in a pile with everyone else's thoughts on these giant trees? Just makes you think, because a lot of people have good ideas. And it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be a collection. You know what I mean? You have different zones when things do look like buildings. You have some people that believe in the mining aspect. They do look like that. And then you also have to acknowledge that some do look like trees, some do look like this, some things like that. It's like that. I posted on social media, you know, the aspect of the giant tree, the giant axe, because I wasn't going to put it in this. Because I thought, you know, they're talking about the angels chopping the trees down, which we all have. Watch me have deleted it now. But hold on. I'm just having a look. I bet I've deleted it. I have. Oh, it's on my social media. Oh, no, I've not. No, I've not. No, it's here. It's here. So everyone saw this, or most people have saw this. Pardon the reflection. But it looks like a giant axe on top of a mountain. And it looks huge. And people thought, giants. But what they don't show you is images of a woman holding it up, or I'm going to turn it that way, would that make it bigger? Or a man standing underneath it. So yes, it's still big, but it's not wow. And these are what I was ready to put that in, thinking, you know, theorizing, oh, listen, people talk about this giant axe and look at the size of it. Could that be a petrified axe? And you think, yes, it does look like an axe. And people talk about how huge the person, because it does look, due to perspective of the camera, it's an optical illusion. It looks bigger than it is. And I've never saw people with it before, and it changes the whole aspect. And I'm like, well, I can't put that in. I know it's still big, but it ain't like, you know, hundreds of feet big for a fucking giant. It'd be like a little toothpick thing, you know what I mean? So these are just things I always say to people, just look and research. Like I said, I saw that image years and years ago. I never thought to check. And, you know, we you know, that's what I was going to put in as well. But think of this. I think it's a good theory. And that, yes, this rare crystal, this mineral moissanite, could have been the tree, part of the tree. And that is why it's found at these locations. And look at the locations, all the religious overtones, taught myths and folklore of giants. And they were like too many coincidences to be, there's got to be a connection. So mining companies are finding these in very rare locations. Again, you found some in Tabor in Israel, and then obviously you have Mount Carmel and the Baal link. And it's like, the transfiguration of Jesus Christ. So you're talking about locations attached. Again, you had Devil Mountain that I didn't put in. You had Uluru, Urs Rock. These locations have all this folklore, mythology behind it, and they're all tied to this moissanite, this rare crystal that no one else seems to be bothering about. Why not? It seems to, you know, connect a lot of things. And then when you start looking and thinking of mountains and things, and they talk about angels knocking it down, and then you're thinking, well, it's made of silica. Well, that is, it's too much to ignore. And then, but again, I just love just investigating and having a look and coming up with different theories, and that's what I came up with this, with the stalagmites and stalagmites. Could it be just giant versions of that? Because if we're in an enclosed system that everyone agrees, mostly agree, an ecosystem, I theorise that we're in a chamber, a huge chamber, from all the etymology I found and other videos. I mean, closed system, then you see these Tree of Life and Idrisil, and then you see this one now from Beslit Cage of being in a enclosed system, the tree is in it, the 3 roots coming into the tree, and another enclosed system, what looks like a person living in that. It's just mind-blowing. And I get excited, and I get a little kid, and I really just love sharing with all this. And then he's the etymology of altar, set with a tar, Tartaros, and all the other things, tar. And that's what intrigued me. It was so funny because remember the truth video, Treo means steadfast and true. It has the same etymology as the wood and tar. And I'm like, wow, I did that years ago. Again, you can't remember everything. So that was just so fascinating. I'm putting all this together. So I just hope you do appreciate it, guys. I'm going to go less than 30 minutes now. I'm going to go because obviously that it'd be over an hour. And it'll be probably one of the longest ones I've done on the Thinking Man. So guys, please just enjoy the video. Take it for what it is. It's just musing the food for thought. Get you thinking about other things, what could be and where we are living in, what are trees, are the mountains, altars to the gods. I thought that connection was fascinating because people, when the life's on the line, start to think of God and praying, and are thinking, well, if they're going up the mountains, which are altars, they're going to cut them down. You know what I mean? So that was just fascinating. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Please like, share and subscribe, and you're helping me and the channel out by doing that. Both channels if possible, guys. I'll be back doing a video on there soon. When the next video will be, I don't know. And if you want to buy me coffee, the link is in the comments pinned. Much love. Having a great new year, guys. Let's hope create more new memories, new thoughts, new theories. Let's have a few smiles and a few laughs, and let's just enjoy ourselves, because life is hard, and I want to smile, I want to laugh, and I just want to get through this life as smoothly as possible. And having you guys on my back and we're together, it does help. So much love, guys. Stay safe. Always wear a smile. Don't let the bar stools grind us down. I'll see you in the comments. Bye. Bye. I'm going. Move, mouse. Bye, guys.